Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So tomorrow is Narsimha Chaturdasi, and it's a very, very wonderful day tomorrow. It's the appearance day of Lord Narsimha Dev. So today I'll be just telling more leelas on Lord Narsimha Dev. Before that, we'll just start with Narsimha Aarti so that we just invoke that mood and we are preparing our consciousness for tomorrow's festival. Namaste Narasimhaya. So if you all want, what you all can do is, you all can unmute yourself and repeat after me, okay? Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Prahlad Ladadaine.
Prahlad Ladadaine.
Hiranyakashipu raksha.
Hiranyakashipu raksha.
Tilatanka nakhalaye.
Shilatanka nakhalaye.
Ito Narsimha parato Narsimha.
Ito Narsimha parato Narsimha.
Yato yato yami tato Narsimha.
Yato yato yami tato Narsimha.
Bahir Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha.
Bahir Narsimha
Narasimham Madin Sharanam Prapade.
Narasimhamadin Sharanam Prapade.
Savakara Kamalare Natham Adbhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare
Navakara Kamala Rekha Adbhuta Shringa Sarita Hiranyakashipu Tanuvringa Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare.
Jayo Narsimha Dev, Jayo Narsimha Dev, Jaya Narsimha Dev, Jayo Narsimha Dev.
Jaya Narsimha Dev, Jaya Narsimha Dev, Jaya Narsimha Dev, Jaya Narsimha Dev.
Jayo Lakshmi Narsimha, Jaya Lakshmi Narsimha, Jaya Lakshmi Narsimha, Jaya Lakshmi Narsimha.
Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha.
Prahlad Narsimha Jaya, Prahlad Narsimha Jaya, Prahlad Narsimha Jaya, Prahlad Narsimha.
Jaya Prahlad Narsimha, Jaya Prahlad Narsimha, Jaya Prahlad Narsimha, Jaya Prahlad Narsimha.
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol.
Gaur Premanande, Hari
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 Hari Bol.
Bol. So with that auspicious for Narsimha Dev, we'll just start a class. So primarily, I'll be not repeating those stories that I have told in the Hindi class. I'm having some new stories and some new, stories from some other devotees also who had narrated me very long back. So I was just asking them, and then they have given me their stories and their practical experiences also. This story goes back. If you remember in the Hindi class, those who have attended, in the Hindi class, Lord Narsimha Dev was established in Mayapur in the year 1986, because 1984 they started, the whole process started in 1984, where they wanted Sthanu Narsimha, that is the Ugra Narsim form of the Lord. And you all can mute yourselves, or put yourselves on mute. So the Sthanu Narsimha, the deity that was there, that was installed in Mayapur. So now this story goes back, again in 1987, because in Mayapur, what happens is that when it rains, the Ganga gets flooded. And when it gets flooded, then it reaches till the Mayapur temple. Now, from the Mayapur temple to the Ganga Ghat, it is almost, you can say, 700 meters or 800 meters long. So Ganga, what happens when it floods? Ganga floods that whole temple also. And there is a big flood inside the temple. And when it floods, then, the waters, are till the head neck, of the devotees. Like maybe I'll just post some of the pictures that sometimes the water comes even till the nose level. So devotees are, performing aarti in the temple, in that particular, what you say, condition. So Panchagangari Prabhu was telling that one time he was thinking that at least he was praying to Lord Narsimha Dev, that see, at least for a few minutes I must have felt surrendered. And during that time in 1987, when there was a big flood, and while he was offering puja, he was standing actually almost waist deep in water. And all of a sudden, a very big, frightening, snake, swam in the temple. And it actually passed, behind the Supreme Lord. And it stopped almost, you can say, 5 feet in front of Panchagangari Prabhu, who is the head pujari of that particular temple in Mayapur. So then, that snake's exit was actually blocked by Panchagangari Prabhu. So he was examining Panchagangari Prabhu for a few moments. And then what happened? It dipped down and out of the side in the muddy Ganga water. So he was feeling himself so much in an imminent danger that he noticed that his hair was on his arms, and it was a really frightening situation for him, because see, he had no weapon also to defend, or he did not have that ability also that he'll run away because he's doing puja. So he was feeling at that point of time so insecure. And that snake was not a very small snake, it was a very long snake. He could have immediately gulped Prabhu down, and pata bhi nahi chalta. He would not even realize that I am being gulped down. So in that helpless condition, Panjangangari Prabhu, he turned to the Lord and he prayed to the Lord that, oh Lord, I know that, my faith is completely in your hands. You are the super soul in everybody's heart. And if you wish that the snake bite me, let it be. If you do not want, then let me continue doing your services. And I give the result in your hand. It's completely dependent on it. So I'm completely at your shelter. And then because the snake immediately went away into that deep muddy water, so Prabhu was very peaceful and he felt very safety and he felt very secure in Lord Narsing's Dev's shelter. So he had finished his morning puja, but he could not stop thinking about that incident, and it reminded him about the description of Lord Kapila to Devahuti in the third canto, where Lord Kapila says that about the babies in the womb of a mother. So when this baby in the womb of the mother, it is very helpless and in a very painful condition, they do get the darshan of Paramatma, the Lord in the heart. So if they are pious, then what do? They pray to the Lord, and he relieves them from that suffering condition. And then they would be, after that, being relieved from that mother's womb, then they would worship him. This is what they promise the child in the womb gives. But as soon as this child comes out in a very good shape, the child forgets that I had promised something in the womb of my mother, that I will worship you, I will pray to you, I will serve you. So still, Panjangari Prabhu saying that still he had a hope, that day, that he'll be able to serve the Supreme Lord to his pleasure somehow. So, he's saying that as long he was in that temple room, that water was filled with, flooded water. That snake would come every day. He would circumambulate that deity every day once and then go out. So Panjangari Prabhu was saying that, so then after that, that snake used to come on a regular basis. So Panjangari was telling that we don't know who that snake was, so maybe it is Ananta Shesh or maybe, some devotee. So the Lord is actually covered over there in very nice, lovely tulsi flowers, sandalwood paste. There is a mixed fragrant of flowers and tulsi at his lotus feet. And then that morning puja, when it is complete, then he actually goes out and he's giving that same Mahaprasad to the devotees also. And then he does his normal puja. But then in the hearts, he knows that, the Supreme Lord, though the name of that Narsimha Dev is, Ugra Narsim, but when the Lord comes to a particular dham, then he adopts the mood of that dham. So in Mayapur, the mood is of benevolence or magnanimity. भगवान ना वहां पे बहुत उदार है, औदार्य धाम है, इसलिए इसका नाम कहते हैं कि इट इज द मोस्ट मैग्नानिमस धाम. मैग्नानिमस मतलब क्या? वहां पे आपको बहुत उदारता से भगवान देते हैं. The Lord is in the mood of giving over there in that dham. So whatever you ask, irrespective of whether you have qualification, you don't have qualification, he will just give you. You ask him anything, he's in the mood of giving and he will give. And there are so many devotees, as I mentioned even last time, when they pray to the Lord, immediately their desires come true. Somebody was asking for a baby, they did not have a baby for almost 4-5 years after marriage. They came and they asked for a baby and they got a baby. Of course, we don't have to ask something material, but the Lord knows that, okay, something material also if I give and he has faith in me, then with that faith, he will keep on moving towards me and he will be, coming close to me. So that's why the Lord gives. And because the Lord is the father of all the living entities, he will always love to give his children, right? provided post that, then the children have a lot of faith in the father. So why does the Lord give? To initially develop that faith, and when the Lord gives, it is his reciprocation to the living entities, that yes, you have asked me something, and yes, I am standing over here in my DT form, and I'm here to reciprocate with you. So it is not exactly like, okay, when you are standing in front of the DT, is just a statue or a stone. No, the Lord is personally residing in that DT form, because when the Lord was installed, then with the mantras of the Brahmanas and the chanting of the powerful mantras, they invite the Lord to reside in that stone. And that is why before the Lord is installed, it is called Murti. But after the Lord gets installed, or you can say the Lord is being invited to reside in that stone in his own original form, so then that after that, we call that same Murti as Archa Vigraha. Now this stone has life. The stone will reciprocate with you. The stone will listen to you. The stone will exchange loving feelings with you. So that's where in all these ISKCON temples, if you see, all these deities are installed. By the auspicious invocations of different mantras, the Lord agrees to come and reside in that stone form. So there is one more story which I really remember, that this story happened in South Africa, and this story is very close to my heart because this story touched my heart a lot. So this story goes back in South Africa. Some of you might be from South Africa over here, and maybe you all might know this, but maybe those who are in India, they might not know. So just to, for their benefit, I'm repeating the story. So this story is about a father and a daughter. The daughter is 5 years old, and this daughter is very fond of Lord Narasimha Dev, because she has never seen a half man, half lion deity, and she's attracted to him. So, and she would often play with her playmates, and she would always discuss, oh, my favorite god is the lion. So she used to call him lion. So, and the kids used to wonder about that, what kind of god this could be, this lion. So if you see, what kind of 5-year-old child know about god, and she was not even initiated. It was just there was a little Vaishnavism in that family, and they used to worship the Lord, and they used to follow the Hare Krishna chanting. So one day this girl, she was playing outside, and while she was playing outside with her ball and with all the other kids on the street, so this ball fell on the street, and the girl, she ran to ran after this ball, because for her, for children, the ball is very precious. So she ran. So because it was a countryside यानी कैसे ना गांव side वहां पे जिसको बोलते हैं, so it was a countryside and it was away from the city. So then there was not at all traffic at all, and but all of a sudden, what happened when this girl was trying to get her ball, there's a very fast truck. It came running down the road, and this girl in her place, she did not see that there's this truck coming. And the father was watching the girl from the first floor of the house, and he saw his baby girl running on the street, and he also saw this huge truck coming down closer to his daughter with a very huge speed. So the father yelled at her, but she didn't hear him because the distance were a little far. So what he did is he jumped out from the first floor of his window, but because he jumped from the first floor, he broke both of his legs, while coming down. And he was, for some time remaining on the ground, just lying in pain. So he was thinking that, is this the day I want to watch? Now I'm sure my daughter, must be, dead. And he was like, some 20 meters, this girl was thrown somewhere 20 meters away. So all these children and neighbors who were around, they were just frozen, to see that sight. And the father had this only this, that, I wish my daughter live, because he jumped from that window and he was not able to walk. So he was just in a very great traumatic condition that, what will happen to me. So from another direction, there was a police car that came, and that car also was witnessing this accident. So this truck went on, and the policeman stopped his car across the street to stop him. So this truck driver hardly stopped his truck, and because he was drunk, he just blew that girl away. So the police immediately called this ambulance, and they ran over to this motionless girl who was lying on the other side of the road, and she was lying in the grass. So the closest hospital that was there was a very small private clinic, and this ambulance came, but they refused to take the girl because they were afraid that they wouldn't have that necessary devices and machines to help her get over her injuries that she had. So then they advised this policeman to call the main hospital, and they could be able to help it efficiently. So because they were thinking that her spine must be broken because the truck had hit her so hard that she went and fell on the other side of the road in the grass. So the police was also too much in a despair that where the girl or the father was. But um, this girl's father, he also did not know if the girl was still alive, because he was also in a shock, and he was not having that daring to touch her also. So uh, not knowing what injuries she was there, but however at the end they all went to the hospital. This police also was accompanying, and the father also was there in that hospital, and they were doing that x-ray of the girl to see her results, that what has exactly happened inside. So this police wanted to see that how the girl was doing. So the police also waited over there only. So everybody was very shocked to hear this terrific accident that had happened to this girl. The nurse also brought the x-ray picture to the doctor. This doctor, when the x-ray was brought, he became very upset, and he started yelling at this nurse that, for God's sake, you please bring the right x-ray. Why are you bringing an x-ray of some person, and this is the matter of death and life. So this nurse is telling that no, because this nurse was also not very much aware that what had happened to this girl. So the doctor said that, see, this cannot be the x-ray of this girl, because there was not a single broken bone in that x-ray. So the doctor all the time again and again repeated that no, impossible, it cannot be. Then uh, because he was not believing that the girl was thrown and she came in a very unconscious condition and she was in a shock. But suddenly this girl, she woke up from her mm, traumatic state, or whatever it was she had fainted, and then she's telling a story. It's a very interesting story, a story that at full consciousness, which made uh, you know uh, that whole thing that she was in. So the media also came in, because in the moment she picked up that ball from the street, she was saying that she saw the truck coming up to her, but the only thing she could do at that point of time is to yell for help, which she didn't call her mommy, her daddy, but she called for Narasimha Dev. Now see, as soon as she called out Narasimha Dev, that moment the Lord came to help her. So in this moment, when the truck should hit her, she suddenly saw that how Lord Narasimha Dev had picked her up from the ground, smiled at her and said, "Don't be afraid, nothing will happen to you." And this girl is telling the story that the Lord had put her on the other side of the street into the grass. But then when he was putting her down, he accidentally scratched her waist, which still hurt her a bit. So she was actually complaining. Then she spoke how Lord Narsimha Dev was beautiful, how his eyes were. She was describing the whole form of the Lord, how his hair was, But then she had a little small complaint also, but she's saying that his claws were very sharp. You know, claws means, you know, unke jo nakhun hote hain na wo, he should cut them down. So, and then she was explaining that he wore a dhoti also. So this doctor could not understand anything. He was also boggled that what is she describing and who is Lord Narsimha Dev? And she was not able to understand, and they were not able to understand, and they told the policeman that maybe, you know, she's still in a shock and she's just hallucinated, which is very normal when, you know, people meet with an accident. So this girl was profoundly checked for any injuries. Very detail में check किया था उसको, but only, you know, the injury they found were that those scratches that were there, and the doctor said that okay, this must be from a very wild animal, maybe it must be like a lion. And as you know, he had cases of this before also, that lion, you see, they're living in a countryside. So countryside, you know, these wild animals keep on attacking people. So he was also very disturbed, and he asked if they had brought the girl to the hospital, as this was, you know, then injured case by a wild animal, not by a truck, because every time these people kept on telling that the truck hit her, the truck hit her. So he was also confused that okay, I was sure that the truck hit her or she was injured by a wild animal. So nobody was very clear what had happened. But the same doctor and the same nurse who took care of this little child later on became devotees, and they later learned from the devotees or from the parents of this girl that who that lion was, and the lion is Lord Narsimha Dev. So this is a very, so see, we can see miracles happening even till today, not only in Mahabharata or Puranas or any Shastras that are, you know, thousands of years old. But this was a very little small girl who was very much attracted to the form of this Lord, and she was attracted to the Supreme Lord. And in her despair, she is calling out for help. And Lord Narsimha Dev did not look, you know, did not see that okay, whether she was initiated, she was not initiated, did she had a right to call him his name. So irrespective of whatever your position is, whether you are a male, whether you are a female, whether you are an animal, whether you are a bird, you call out his name and he protects his devotees. That is, you know, that sincere worship anybody does for the Supreme Lord. And if they're worshipping in their hearts, then definitely. So this little girl, we can say, was no ordinary soul. And maybe she was, you know, having some good connection with the Supreme Lord in her previous life also. So, you know, so much of faith that little girl had, that she's not calling out to her parents. She called out to the Supreme Lord Narsimha Dev. She called out Lord Narsimha Dev because she had heard previously the stories also, that how Lord Narsimha Dev helps his devotees, how Lord Narsimha Dev had helped Prahlad also. So she was very much, you know, fascinated by the Lord Narsimha Dev. So this is one story which immediately comes to my mind. And there was one more story where this story is again a very nice story of a very old lady who was living in Russia. So this story goes back to the place called Azerbaijani. That place is called. I call that place as AB actually because it's a very tongue twisting name. So that's called Azerbaijani. So this amazing story is about a saint named, you know, she's a lady actually. Her name is Padasevanam. She's actually from Baku. This Baku is in actually USSR. So she re-established the devotional service to Lord Narasimha Dev, and she changed the hearts of many devotees due to her limitless love for the Supreme Lord and her fearlessness, her determination, her patience for worshipping the Supreme Lord. So this story was flashed in all the media channels and of Russia, and then even in India also, because from Russia she came to India, and in Andhra Pradesh, the mayor of Andhra Pradesh also actually came to see her, that who is this devotee. So this story goes about how this lady also become a devotee of the Lord. So some devotees were distributing Bhagavad Gita, translated by Prabhupada, and this old woman, she got that particular Bhagavad Gita, so she read it, and this knowledge about the Bhagavad Gita struck her so much that she accepted the instructions of the Lord with all her heart. And she found somehow that she was able to find the address of the nearest ISKCON temple, and she reached the nearest ISKCON temple, and she started associating with those devotees. She met the devotees, and one of the devotees, they escorted her also to the guest room where few other people were also. So the devotee began telling this lady that this woman is there and she has come, and you'll please preach to her the Bhagavad Gita. So then this lady, she was very much fascinated by this knowledge, and she started even preaching the Bhagavad Gita. Over a period of time, she started preaching the Bhagavad Gita, and she had lots of bookmarks in her Bhagavad Gita, and she was saying that, see, Bhagwan Krishna says this, Bhagwan Krishna says that, and the devotees also later said that uh, uh, they were very much amazed, that it was so interesting that she got engaged and she was continuously listening also, and she was preaching also very sincerely. So this is how she came to the devotees and she started. But what happened is that one day she felt that, see, there is no point for me living so far away from the temple. So it is anyways, my kids have grown up and they have their own families, and they have they have settled in their own ways, and nobody has time for me. So now I have acquired a new spiritual family of these devotees in the Hare Krishna. So she came to the temple one day and she said that she wants to sell her apartment and donate the money to the temple, and in return she just wanted one small room to live over there, and she can serve over there, she can chant and sing over there. So the devotees, they had a small meeting. They finally, initially they were not agreeing, but finally they agreed. And what did they do is, they, in that temple only, they built a small little extension to the temple and a small room for her. And where like, even if you go in the temple of Baku over there in Russia, they have that entrance, to the right of the entrance you will have that room, and that room has little large windows. So she moved in over there and she started serving the Lord over there. She started growing tulsis also, and she was very positive. She gave so much love to all the devotees over there, and she never criticized anybody. She was never participated in any gossips or anything. So she was treating the deities with great love. So when this then mm, later on, what happened is that these devotees, they actually were seeing that, okay, she's having some weird behavior. Weird behavior means that she talks to Krishna. She said that, okay, Krishna told me, and no, Krishna does not like this, or Gopal told me to pass this to you, because she used to keep on giving gifts to devotees. And she said, oh, yesterday night Gopal told me, please give this gift to this devotee. So she was giving small gifts, like she would give an apple, or maybe she would just give some tulsi leaves, or she would just give some small garland that she has made. So she would actually, love her way of loving the devotees. So she had a very nice blue colored, doll of Gopal as little Krishna. And nobody knows from where did she get it. But what she used to do is, she one day she bought a car toy for that Gopal, and she made him sit in that car, and she was strolling that in the temple yard actually. So then, the devotees asking, "Hey, Padasivan Mataji, what are you doing?" So she was saying that, see, this little, kids, they're interested to play with cars, and see how this Gopal looks so joyful. So uh, people were very much not sure whether it was her imagination or was it her mixed bhav, or but they felt that okay, she was an interesting type of a devotee, and she had very much good personal relationships with Krishna, and she actually thought that Krishna is living with him. So the devotees were thinking that if she has such this, maybe, by doing this, maybe whatever her, tendency of, impurities would go off with time. And, she would come out from that situation, she would purify herself. So, one day, there was this person who came, and he actually met this Mataji. Her name is Pada Sevanam Mataji. And then he started talking to her. So he saw her very closely. That whenever she would have spare time, she would sit down and she would chant very thoughtfully. She would always read Prabhupada's books with great interest. She was always engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord in the temple also and in her room also. And she participated in all the devotee gatherings, festivals, programs, and everything. And whenever somebody would give a lecture, she would very much attentively and respectfully hear the lectures. So these are some of the signs of a, you can say, true devotee, that he's interested. So one time what happened that she must have watched some movie of the pilgrimage to Ahobilam. And she said that, see, I have watched this movie, Pilgrimage to Ahobilam, and this is a very famous. So Ahobilam, no, is a very famous temple in down south. And this Ahobilam temple is a very fascinating temple, because this temple is situated in a very deep jungle, and there are tigers living all around there. And one has to be really very determined to reach Ahobilam. So there, if you go and see, there will be signs written, be aware of tigers. So there is also one more temple over there in Ahobilam, is a temple of Hiranyakashipu. And there are still, pieces of those columns from the Lord where he had appeared from that, pillar. And there is also one cave there, and there is a self-manifested deity of Lord Narasimha Dev inside that particular cave. So if you see the videos of Ahobilam on the net, you will see that it's a very ancient temple where the deity is Veer Narsimha. Veer means, you can say, Veer means one who has a great valor, or a victor, or who can conquer very nicely. So this deity is located in a very small cave, at the very top of a big mountain. So once this Hiranyakashipu, he had conceived a plot in this particular place, and he decided to, perform austerities to Brahma. And then Brahma, we know that story, that Brahma appears and he thought that, I would steal the Vedas from him. And then Hiranyakashipu thought that he would construct his civilization in a demonic way. But when he actually stole the Vedas from Brahma's mind, so this was another demon actually. It was not Hiranyakashipu, but it was another demon as such. So he stole the Vedas from the mind of Brahma. And he had many mystic powers also. So Brahma then worshipped Lord Narasimha Dev. And Narasimha Dev personally appeared over there in his original form, and he actually tore apart this demon and returned the Vedas to Brahma. And Brahma was very thankful to Lord Narasimha Dev. So he performed over there, a ritual worship, and he prayed to Lord Narasimha Dev. Brahma is performing a ritual. So he's saying that Lord Brahma is actually praying to Lord Narasimha Dev that please stay in your merciful form of Viral Narsimha, because you will be able to conquer, and we can always worship you, and we can always remember about your this heroic deed that you have done. So then the Lord was very much pleased, and with that prayer that Brahma did, and then he appeared in his deity form over there in Ahobilam. So uh, this particular thing that is there, if you see that in that cave there is, there are many bats also hanging above the head, and the whole cave is very full of dreadful things. And when it becomes dark, you cannot even see anything, everything is unclear what is ahead. And all of a sudden, there are bells ringing in that particular cave. And so all this actually, who is witnessing what I'm saying is, who is witnessing this? The devotees who go over there are witnessing this. Okay. So there are small night lamps also put over there, oil lamps, you can say, at the end of the cave. So there is one priest who at that point of time was conducting this worship to this deity. But what he used to do is, he used to come only once a week. Why? Because the village was 5 kilometers away from that temple, and the whole place around that particular temple was a jungle, and nobody would live around, because that place was surrounded by many tigers. So when this Pada Sevanam Mataji she heard, she had a lot of, you can say, बोलते ना वात्सल्य भाव, एक ममता वाला भाव जो है ना, motherly feeling woke up in her. She says, "Oh Krishna, my Krishna is suffering." And she said that she asked Gopal what I should do now. And then she's telling the devotees over there that, see, Gopal told me that I can help Lord Narasimha Dev. Gopal told me that I should go and serve Lord Narasimha Dev over there. He's alone over there. He needs my help. Who's going to cook for him? How is he living over there alone? So she was very much determined to go, to Ahvalam. Right from Russia, she was ready to go to a place in, Andhra. Okay, near Hyderabad, that place is somewhere. So imagine this 70-year-old grandma, such an idea that, somebody think what an abnormal idea she has. But see her bhav for the Supreme Lord. And then she says that she told the devotees, see, I don't know anything. I want to just go to that particular place. So then the devotees were trying to explain, see, do you think that place is India? Firstly, you are from Russia, and going to an alien land with so many difficulties, and plus there will be no support for you. You'll be living all by yourself over there. So you can be being robbed, you can be cheated. Firstly, you do not know even the language, because she's a Russian, and over there the local language is Telugu or Tulu language over there. And plus you don't even have money for the tickets. How are you, going to go over there? Like, so she says, I don't know anything. Gopal told me and I have to go. And I have nothing more, but I want to just go over there. So then, these devotees try to explain her that, see, in our Sampradaya, we worship only Radha Krishna or only Lord Chaitanya, who is Radha Krishna, as one person only. So if you want to go to India, you can go to Mayapur or Vrindavan, and you can happily worship Krishna over there. You don't need to go to that some mountain where, there are no devotees, where it is not clear and it is so dangerous over there. But, she said that, okay, I will ask Gopal then, her small doll that she had. And then, next day again, she comes to tell the devotees that she said, okay, I've asked Gopal. He has said that I have to go to Narsimha anyway. So then they were thinking that, okay, how now she's so determined and she does not even have money. So then, they somehow either collected some money and then, they, sent her over there. And actually, she made it to the Narsimha temple because somehow the devotees helped her and they were able to get her the tickets to India. But from India, the devotee who actually, Ganeshwar Prabhu, who took her to India, he was still trying to, convince her that, what we can do is because we have landed in Delhi, from Delhi, Vrindavan is nearby. Let's go to Vrindavan, and from Vrindavan, then we will go to that particular place. But she said, no, 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 no. I don't want to go to Vrindavan. I want to straight go, to Lord Narasimha Dev only. I want to just go over there and I want to serve over there. So then after that, what happened is exactly that they had to, they took the ticket to Hyderabad because there is a complete route. Just give me a minute, dear devotees. Just give me 1 minute, okay? Yeah, Hare Krishna. Sorry for that. So when now then, she actually reaches that particular place, and this devotee who had taken her, till there, then this Ganeshwar Prabhu was actually explaining, to this, because they went and actually they took the tickets, they flew to Hyderabad. From Hyderabad, there is a taxi to Vedagiri, and then to Vedagiri, then this Ganeshwar Prabhu, he takes this Padasevanam Mataji to this priest. And, he takes her to the priest thinking that, okay, now though at least her eyes will open that such a, difficult task it is to worship the Lord and, to take care of the Lord. So the priest is also 70-year-old and he has a son who is 30-year-old. So Ganeshwar Prabhu is explaining to the son that, see, this woman is from a very different country and she's from Russia, and she has got some revelation that your Narasimha Dev, calls her, and she needs to come here and she needs to serve over here. And see, you see, she has packed all her things and she has come. So when this priest, he's hearing this, his eyes are like, round and round they are doing, and they go on double size. So he's saying, what? Narasimha Dev, do you understand what you're saying? Living here, I myself am not living over here. I also live 5 kilometers away. And we men also cannot live over here. It is so dangerous. There are no facilities. Firstly, there is no water, there is no food, there is no electricity. And you are talking about, settling over here in this particular cave. So he's saying that, see, I cannot provide any protection. So though I am worshipping over here, but see, it is very, very difficult. So this Pada Sevanam Mataji, she becomes very serious and she's looking at the priest. And with a very much, trying look, she's looking and she's saying that, see, if Krishna wants to kill someone, would you be able to protect that person regardless of that place in this universe or even in your house in that matter? So if Krishna wants to protect someone, who will kill that person? She said that with such faith and determination that the priest was just broke into tears and said that, see, I don't know, who this woman is, but, I have no arguments to convince her that please do not stay over here. So if you want, you go ahead and you live over there. I'll try to give maximum protection as much as I can. So now, then, this Ganeshwar Prabhu who had bought Padasevanam Mataji over there is put and he told her, okay, Padasevan Mataji, let's take your luggage and we'll go through the jungle and we'll go to that particular mountain. So they left in the morning and carried the luggage to the mountain. And Ganeshwar Prabhu has a little last hope also still that, she would see everything herself and she would change her mind. Then they reach the top. Now, if anybody has been to that Ahovilam Narsing temple, if you see there are 7 mountains, you cross those 7 mountains and you reach the last mountain is Ahovilam, So they reach the top. And Padasevan Mataji is lost over there. She admired that place so much and she's lost in that admiration. She's telling, oh, wow, there's such a nice place over here. And the moment she's seeing that place, she's saying, okay, here is a room for my deities. Okay, there is some little rickety building over there made of stones with some small, door and all. I'll install my deities over here. I'll set up the tent over here. And this is some very excellent facility for me. Everything is beautiful. And saying, go home. I will stay over here and worship Lord Narasimha Dev. So imagine with those bare minimum necessities also, she was ready to stay over there and she was ready to serve over there. And we over here, staying in big bungalows and big flats over here, we do not have that determination to serve the Lord. We have nice, fans and electricity and ACs and so much of, facilities. But still, we also, I'm talking about myself also, that we are not, able to have that devotion, what Padasevanam Mataji has, even with those bare minimum facilities also. So the Ganeshwar Prabhu and this priest, they were totally shocked and they were speechless, and they left her over there. And the priest was again, very much amazed that he was very much inspired by this lady, that being a foreign lady who has come from a foreign land, and she's ready to sacrifice her whole life at that old age also. And she went around telling the priest went around telling everybody in the village that, see, there is this grandma, she's so dedicated to Lord Narasimha Dev, and this word spread in the whole of village. And next day, you can say swarms of people began climbing the mountain to see this woman, who this woman is. And this priest is saying there is a saint from Russia who has come, and she wants to worship our Lord Narasimha Dev. So then these villagers, what they did is, just a minute. Whatever they could get, because see, there was shortage of food, water, electricity. So whatever they could get, they would get little water, food, or men, they looked at that tent she was in and they said that, okay, we must protect her and we must build a hut for her. Then they built a hut, and this women also, joined, and they began cleaning that particular place. They bought water for her and they started doing many other things also for her. So all these villagers that were there, they received her as a saint and they began worshipping her. She didn't have even a tiny amount of pride about herself, and she was very much easily accepting things. People were paying her obeisances and she's blessing them also, as if, she has been always doing that. But she did not have pride. She was clean by her heart. She was pure. And people were inviting her to their weddings and new house ceremonies, or newborn baby, or even somebody's died, they would invite her. So all these villagers they were running around her, the priests, the brahmanas, everybody. So when she was coming to this even Shiva's temple, they would bring her, flowers, and she would offer it to Lord Shiva. She would do abhishek also, as a great, saint or a sadhu would do. People fell in love with her so much, with her for her simple love for Krishna. There's no duplicity. There is no, when you love Krishna or when you love a person, like a mother, how she loves the child, she loves the child in a very selfless way. So similarly, she also loved the Lord in a very selfless way. She thought this Lord is my child, and in that way she worshipped. And see, she did not even know the local language. She even did not know English. So, and still she was preaching. She only knew that she only knew that word is Bhagwan Sri Krishna. So she would preach half in her language, half in Russian language. But people were able to understand because she was speaking straight from the heart. She spoke the language of love, which anybody and everybody can understand. So this the news, of the story was spread, far and wide, and people used to come to take Lord Narsing's darshan, and they should take her also darshan. And this priest also used to come only once in a week. Now the priest also started coming every day, and he kept that temple open all the time, like now. And that's how uh, Lord Nrsimha Dev's worship resumed over there on a daily basis. So there were many others who came to know, and one of them were the journalists, the newspapers, and even the mayor of or the governor of Andhra Pradesh. He was also amazed to read that article in the newspaper. So he's saying, "Oh, this is happening in my state. I have to see this woman." And he told his wife, and then they all both started, and they started, towards the Ahobilam Narsingh temple. And when they came, they climbed the mountain to see this Padasevana Mataji, and they were seeing that, see, everything was happening around her. People were doing something, and she was in ecstasy. She was worshipping the deities. So imagine, in the beginning, even to get water, she had to climb down several kilometers, take a bath, and bring some drinking water up. Now that's how she lived before even the people started helping her. And when this governor saw that, see, we call ourselves devotees of Krishna, but who we are actually, and look at this condition of our temple compared to our big, big houses over here. And we made this facility for ourselves, but we do not make any facilities for the Lord. So, and we have left the Lord over here, in such a condition, and we are worshipping only once a week. So the governor over there, he's telling that, no, I'm taking responsibility now, that I will collect enough money to make facilities. I'll build a road, I'll bring electricity, I'll bring water, I will see whatever facilities are required to access this temple. I will even renovate this temple, and you will see that there is proper worship of Lord Narasimha Dev going on. So then he started one foundation, and he built a road, temple, and parking and all those marble steps, if you see over there, to the temple, for this tourist group. And they also built one big Hanuman temple and refined everything over there. So this Padasevana Mataji, for her, they built a brick house then over there. So this main point, that we do not know anything, uh, you know, uh, that, see, this, how this woman is. And now is the time that she's leaving. Of course, she was very old, and she was actually leaving that world, because obviously those who come, they have to leave. So this Padasevana Mataji's death was also was a very, very, wonderful passing from this world. That it was Dwadashi, and the devotees, they came, to see Padasevanam Mataji for darshan and get her blessing. So what they would do, they would go to into the temple to see the deities, and then Padasevanam Mataji used a plastic chair to keep, her Krishna, on that particular chair, and then she would take Krishna from the altar and put him on that particular chair, and then she would feed him. When the devotees came that morning and then they saw her, she was on her knees, bent down near the chair, and she was embracing Krishna's feet. And under her arm, she was holding the Bhagavad Gita. So the devotees thought that she was maybe sleeping, or maybe, she's just good. So the priest knocked the table. They saying that, okay, you're there, you're there. So he asked one of the, women over there, please go and see, what's happened to her. And then when they touched her, they realized that she has left her body. So she has embracing the Supreme Lord, Bhagavad Gita with her. And because see, her name is only Pada Sevanam. So she was embracing the lotus feet of the Lord, and she left this world embracing Krishna's lotus feet, holding the Bhagavad Gita. And this is the perfection of that Mataji. And such a remarkable example we have that there is, that one time this also had happened that the priest had closed the temple at night, and he began going down the mountain. And when he heard the screaming of some sound and some sound of the banging of some dishes, he thought that maybe some monkey must have attacked or something like that. And the next morning, this priest comes up, and then everything is usual. So Padasevan Mataji was worshipping the Lord, and then the priest is asking her that what had happened. She said, nothing, everything is fine over here. He's saying, no, I heard the banging of some dishes and your scream. So then she said, oh, that's just Narsimha. He didn't want to eat, so I was actually swearing. So the priest, said that, see, I never understood only this woman, what kind of woman she is. She said that at one point of time, Narasimha Dev had told her that she would incarnate in this place for 10,000 years, and then then the Lord would take her to Goloka. So, even one more thing I forgot to tell is that, see, at the beginning, of that story where she comes and she settles down in Avavilam, that at the beginning, everything was very rough. There were many dangers, and there were many wild animals, and, there were certain problems. But uh, she was telling the priest that, see, there are no problems at all. Just one cobra, was biting my leg, and it bit me. That's all. Then the priest is saying, oh, what did you do then? Then she said that I went to Lord Narasimha Dev and said that, see, Lord Narasimha Dev, I want to serve you, but this cobra has bit me. Now, if you want to take me, you take me. But if you want me to serve you, then you tell me what to do. So then Lord Narasimha Dev told her that you wash the wound with Charanamrita. And then she did, and then everything was fine. So see, this was her faith with Lord Narasimha Dev. That if a cobra bites, what do? We, become shanky panky, and we start becoming it, and we'll fall and we'll faint. But when the cobra bit her, she was very equipoised. And she is going to the Lord, and she's asking, she's seeking help from the Supreme Lord. So, such a wonderful, this story is also very close to my heart. These two inspirational stories are very, close to my heart. So, now if you see Lord Narasimha Dev, these two stories that I told, because these were two big, long stories, but these two stories have built a lot of faith in us. These two stories are telling us that the Lord reciprocates. These two stories tell us that the Lord will be there in every of our difficulty if we call out with sincerity. So that's the crux of this particular katha, that the Lord will definitely come to help anybody who sincerely will call out the name of the Supreme Lord. And why will he not come? He will definitely come, because when he says in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharma Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja, Aham Tam Sarva Papebe Mokshishami Masucha. So if the Lord has said, then he keeps his promise. He does not actually shirk from his promise. When he gives a word, then he is there for the devotees. What to speak of devotees? He's there for the non-devotees also. He had told in Ramayana also that even if Ravana also comes and tells me that from this day I am yours, I will forgive him and I will accept him the very same day. So there is a very nice shloka which I want to share with you all. Just give me 1 minute. Let me just find that shloka. It is 8. It's from Canto 7, 9th chapter, and that's 8th shloka. Yeah, see, there's a very nice shloka. I'll just share with you all. Okay. Are you all able to see, or I just need to increase? Okay, I think I'll increase the font size from here. Yeah, so this is a very wonderful shloka. If somebody wants to write it down, you can write it down. It is 7th canto, 9th chapter, 8th shloka. Prahlad Maharaj is saying this because it is Prahlad Uvacha. So Lord Prahlad Maharaj is saying that. He's saying that Brahma Daya Suragana Munayo Atha Siddhaha Satvikatana Gatayo Vachasam Pravahe Naradhitum Puru Ganer Andho Napi Pipurehe Kim Toshtum Arhati Same Harer Ugra Jatehe. So what is Prahlad Maharaj saying? He's saying that he's praying actually. That see, how is it possible for me, who have been born in a family of asuras, to offer suitable prayers to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Asuras generally don't pray to the Supreme Lord. They are always envious. So Prahlad Maharaj is expressing his astonishment. Even until now, all the demigods headed by Brahma and all the saintly persons could not satisfy the Lord by streams of excellent word. Although such persons are very qualified, being in the mode of goodness, then what is said to be of me? I am not at all qualified. So this is an instance where, Hiranyakashipu has, ripped apart the intestines. Sorry, Lord Narasimha Dev has ripped out the intestines of Hiranyakashipu, and the Lord is very much ferociously angry, and his anger is not subsiding down. The demigods have also tried to pacify. Lakshmi is also, in terror and fear that, my husband, I've never seen him in so much anger. He's always been very Soumya. First time I'm seeing him in some Ugra form. So she was also not able to pacify. And then the demigods, they put Prahlad in front. And then they tell him, because Prahlad was always in a very child-like affection. He used to think that he is my father, Lord Narasimha Dev is my father. So they put Prahlad in front, thinking that, okay, the child, will put the child in front, the Lord's anger might subside down. So then Prahlad Maharaj is making this prayer that, how is it possible for me, to give some suitable praise? I am from an Asura family. And he's expressing his humility that, see, I'm not at all qualified. Being the most pure devotee, and the Lord, see, why is a pure devotee? The Lord came for him. The Lord came from him from a pillar. So just to keep Prahlad's faith in him, the Lord came out from that pillar. So the Lord is not binded to take birth in a woman's womb only, or any womb. For him, that pillar only became the womb, and he came out from that pillar for Prahlad. And Prahlad over here is telling that, see, I'm not at all qualified. So what Prabhupada is writing, let's see, saying a Vaishnava who is fully qualified to serve the Lord still thinks himself extremely low while offering prayers to the Lord. So, what are these prayers? What Prahlad is offering over here is, these are Dainya Bodhika prayers. Dainya means Deenheen Avastha mein. I am very much, Deen, I'm very much meek. I have no strength. And, Daya, seeking Daya from the Lord. That is what Dainya Bodhika praise. So, for example, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, says that Jagai Madai Haite Muni se Papishta Puri Shera Kaita Haite Muni se Lagishta. He says that he considers himself unqualified, lower than the worms in the stool. He says that Hoite Muni se Papishta Puri Shera Kita. Kita means, Kida. Hoite Muni se Lagishta. So he says that Krishna Goswami, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, he is saying this, that I am a worm in the stool and I am more sinful than even Jagai and Madai. So Prabhupada is saying that a pure Vaishnava actually thinks himself in this way. Similarly, although Prahlad Maharaj was an pure exalted Vaishnava, he thought himself most unqualified to offer prayers to the Supreme Lord. Then somebody might question that, okay, I am also very unqualified to pray to the Supreme Lord. I am not even chanting. I have never even prayed to the Lord. Then how am I qualified? But no, we must pray to the Supreme Lord. In whatever capacity we have, we must pray to the Supreme Lord, because the Supreme Lord hears the prayers of every devotee. Just as the father will listen to the child who is not even mature enough, and the child will speak to the father, similarly, we also have to speak to our eternal Father and offer prayers. So, just give me a minute. So, though Prahlad Maharaj was an exalted devotee, he thought most qualified. So, what we have to do is Mahajano Yena Gata Panthasta, Sapantha. We have to follow in these footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj, because Prahlad Maharaj is one of the 12 Mahajanas. Mahajana, Jana matlab ya people. People में भी या लोगों में भी जो महान है, इसलिए महाजन. Every pure Vaishnava should think like this. One should not be falsely proud of his Vaishnava qualities. पहली बात तो जिसके पास अहंकार होगा, whoever will be proud, he will not be a Vaishnava, because Vaishnava means only humility. उसका definition ही यही है कि he'll be very humble. And that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given this very famous, shlok in his Shishtashtakam, which is an 8-verse para. He's saying that Trinadapi Suni Chena Taroripi Sahishnunam Amanina Mana Dena Kirtaniya Sadahari. Saying one should chant the holy name of the Lord in a very humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than the tree. See, lower, what is the meaning of this line? Okay, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. जैसे आप घास का तिनका देखते हो ना, one straw. So you trample it, you stamp on it, you do whatever you want with him, but he will not complain. He will not retaliate. He will not answer you back. Hey, why did you stamp on me and you went? How dare you? No, he will very humbly, he will be crushed under your feet and he won't say anything to you. Then he's saying that one should be more tolerant than a tree. If you see a tree, whether it is hot summers, whether it is winters, whether it is rainy, whether it is, Patjhad ka mahina, the tree is very tolerant. And the tree has one more quality also. That tree which bears many fruits will be actually, bowing down on the floor. Or वो झुका हुआ होगा जमीन की तरफ, which means what? It is expressing his humility. or those fruits, what are they expressing? Those fruits are those wonderful qualities that that tree has. The quality of humility, compassion, the quality of helpful nature, all these qualities. So Vaishnava also, when he will have all these qualities, that he is helpful, he is merciful, he has compassion, he is not judgmental, he has kindness to people, he is tolerant. So that Vaishnava will always be humble, वो हमेशा झुका रहेगा. He will always be bowing down to the devotees. And one that Vaishnava will be devoid of all sense of false prestige. Matlab, prestige means what? Hey, I am walking. Can't you see I am a senior devotee? How dare you don't bow down to me? No, 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 no. Amanina mana dena. Amanina man do ya na do. I don't care. Okay. And should be ready to offer all respect to others. अमानीना, मान मिले या ना मिले, लेकिन मान देना, he is ready to give respect to everybody. And when you have all these qualities, okay, when you have humility, trinadapi, sunichena, you have tolerance, sahishnuta, tolerance again, then you have amanina mane, you don't expect respect or any prestige from others, but you are ready to give respect to all others. Then what can you do? What follows when you have all these qualities? Then you can be kirtaniya sada hari. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy names constantly. इस शुद्ध मन से व्यक्ति 24 घंटे भगवान का नाम ले सकता है. A person can chant the holy names of the Lord in such a situation 24/7. So Prabhupada is saying this. Unless one is meek and humble, to make progress in spiritual life is very difficult. An arrogant person or a person who has pride, it is very difficult for him to progress in spiritual life because he is stuck in his false ego. He is stuck in me and mine. And such a person cannot chant the holy names of the Lord. So, if you see that when just give me 1 minute, okay? I just was just a little confused with this window. Okay. So if you see, that even Prabhupada also at many places is quoting this particular shloka, and he will quote Trinadapi Sunichena many times. And he will say that, if devotees want to become humble and they want to chant, then they have to, chant the holy names of the Lord in this particular mood. So if you see that, Parikshit Maharaj, because see how this story of Narasimha Dev came into, how did Shukdev Goswami started narrating the story of Lord Narasimha Dev, that Parikshit Maharaj was inquiring from Shukdev Goswami about how the Lord is equal to all the living entities. He is not partial to anyone, but it appears that, Lord is partial to everyone. To this, Shukdev Goswami is explaining that, see, living entities, those who are in this conditioned state, they are under the 3 modes of material nature. We know goodness, passion, and ignorance. 3 गुणों से बंधे हुए हैं, रजोगुण, सतोगुण और तमोगुण से. So they, because the living entities are continuously under the 3 modes of material nature, then they are always under the conception of duality also. Okay, he's my friend, he's my enemy. Okay, he's causing me pain, she's giving me pleasure. Okay, I'm getting happiness from here, but I'm getting distress from this person. Okay, he is good, he is bad. So these dualities are there. So these three modes of material nature continuously create dualities, and we have to face in our lives, inside also and outside also, within also and without also. So, but they say that Supreme Personality of Godhead is above the modes of material nature, where Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Maya Dakshina Prakriti Sa Suyate Sa Characharam. In the 9th chapter, 10th shloka, he says that this Maya, which is the energy, and which has this, it is energy which is in three modes of material nature, it exists, and it is existing eternally under the control of Krishna. So Krishna never sees, the within this, what do you say, the mundane realm of duality. Krishna is not, under the influence of this duality. So because the Lord is, you can say, supremely transcendental, and he is equal to everyone because he is the ever well-wishing friend of everyone. He is reciprocating with devotees in the degree to how we approach him. So, and then, he explains also that even the great demons, on these great demons, when the Lord kills them, why the Lord kills them? The Lord kills them for their own benefit only. So they also get liberated. For example, recently, in the news, we are seeing there are so many murderers happening. Okay. Sometimes somebody kills a particular person. So the one who is killing, he is also under the three modes of material nature. The one who is being killed, who has got killed also, he's also on. So has it ever happened that, okay, somebody has killed somebody and that person becomes liberated? No. This happens only with the Lord, because the Lord is not under the influence. भगवान देखते नहीं कि ये मेरा दुश्मन है, ये मेरा शत्रु है. No. For the Lord, everybody is equal. So they achieve such an exalted stage of life and this is the Lord's mercy. So, we should not think in a very narrow materialistic way that God is good to some and God is bad to the others. The Lord is good to everyone. He knows what is best for everyone, and according to our desires and according to our actions, the Lord reciprocates either directly or through his yogamaya, or the spiritual energy, directly or indirectly, or he reciprocates with it. So when this material suffering is there, material suffering is due to particular persons who implicate themselves into karmic activities, and then the Lord, in his impartial way, just allows them to go ahead and live their lives according to whatever independent mentality they have, or that you can say that independent will that they have, and implicate themselves in some laws of karma, or the laws of karma, that because see, the laws of karma, they're equal to everyone. The laws of karma do not what you say, distinguish. So if you commit some sinful activity, you are going to get the reaction, no matter who you are, whether you are the king, whether you are a pauper. The laws of karma are not going to actually see. That is called impartiality. So if you commit some past activities, you're going to get the fruits of that activities. So no matter whom you are. So Krishna says, Sarva Dharma Paritijya Mahamekam Sharan Varat. So if you surrender to the Lord, it does not matter whether you're a man, you're a woman, you're a Westerner, you're a Easterner, you are educated, you are not educated, does not matter. The caste also does not matter. And even any material designation also does not matter. But if you surrender to the Supreme Lord, then you can achieve the ultimate mercy of the Supreme Lord. So the real happiness that everyone is searching for is equally available to everyone. But according to our activities in this particular life and whatever, the previous life that we have lived, it simply creates an environment around us, uh, more easy or more difficult to achieve. So, if you see, Yudhishthir Maharaj is also actually asking Narad Muni, and Parikshit Maharaj asked this same to Shukdev Goswami. First, that how is it that Yudhishthir Maharaj asked that how is it that I saw Shishupala when he was killed, and he was the most envious person in the world, but yet Shishupal attained liberation. And see, we all also saw his body enter into Krishna's body. So Narad Muni is explaining that how anyone, whoever they are, if they become absorbed in Krishna, they become purified. So somebody might wonder that Shishupal, he was absorbed in a very anemic way. So although Shishupal was very much envious, but somehow he was envious of Krishna. Therefore, he was constantly thinking of Krishna with hatred. Because this is an unfavorable thinking. एक होता है कि आप फेवरेबली कृष्णा के बारे में सोचो, कृष्णा इज सो नाइस, कृष्णा इज सो ब्यूटीफुल, कृष्णा इज सो मर्सीफुल. So every moment of the day, Shishupal was thinking, or speaking against Krishna, because his mind was absorbed in thinking of Krishna. So when we enter the altar, we actually chant a mantra, Om Apavitrava, because see, Krishna is all pure. And anybody who comes in contact with Krishna ultimately becomes purified by remembering about Krishna. So, in fact, Narad Muni actually is telling Yudhishthir Maharaj that, see, I wish I could also be very much absorbed in Krishna like Shishupal was. So, that was, of course, Narad Muni's humility. And over here, also in this particular shloka, which we saw recently, the 798, there also, Prahlad Maharaj is expressing his humility also. And then he told a very beautiful story, where he told this story about actually Prahlad Maharaj. So then the story of this Prahlad Maharaj begins that Prahlad Maharaj had such wonderful qualities, and even as a child, he was thinking about Krishna. And when he would feel separation from Krishna, he would cry and weep like a baby. And when he would feel the presence of Krishna, he would be dancing in jubilation, and he had all those ecstatic symptoms that were decorating his body all the time. Plus, Prahlad Maharaj, qualities were that he was a very polite person. He was very well-mannered, humble, respectful. He was very self-controlled also. And he was very tolerant also. Of course, he tolerated his father till the end. Though his father had put so many atrocities on him, he never retaliated. He never counteracted his father. He never said that I am a pure devotee, how dare you tell me all these things? No, he never said like that. He was tolerating his father very patiently. That is why the word titikshuka. Titikshuka means what? Tolerant person. Devotee is one quality that titikshva, he is very tolerant. So he was even equally loving to every living being. So all his friends and all other living entities also used to love him. But his father, horribly, tortured him, tormented him, and, tried to murder him in many, many ways. So when Parikshit Maharaj heard this from Shukdev Goswami, he was very much amazed that how is it possible that we do not see in this world that if a child is obedient and respectful, why will this parent want to kill him? So every parent, has affection for their children. Sometimes the parent would even chastise the child, but actually the parent is chastising the child to teach the child a good lesson, just out of affection for that particular child. So, what kind of this horrible situation that was created that this father wanted to murder and torture his own son. So now to answer this question, Shukdev Goswami then told a very nice story, and he's explaining the story of Hiranyakashipu's enmity towards Lord Vishnu, where Hiranyakashipu was, he was lamenting for the death of his brother Hiranyaksha, because Hiranyaksha was killed by Lord Varadev. And then Hiranyaksh was trying to pacify Hiranyakashipu was trying to pacify the wife of Hiranyaksha and his own mother Diti, because Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksh were the sons of mother Diti and Kashyapa. So then he is speaking very nice philosophy, and he's explaining what is the difference between, see, demons are very good at preaching, but they are very bad at application. They will preach, they have the full knowledge. So those demons who say big things, but in their life they are not following, so they will say very big lofty philosophy also. They will know everything. But when it comes to following, when it comes to surrender to the Supreme Lord, then over there in that area they are zero. So he is explaining to Hiranyaksha's wife and mother Diti about the difference between the body and the soul also. And he's saying this also. See, there is nothing to lament, because the soul never dies, and the body also never dies. It is just transforming from one element to another element, and it is from different elements it is entering. So actually nothing dies. It's just a conception of change that we called it as a death. And then Hiranyaksha, again, he's telling one story. He is telling a very good story about a bird, and his bird's name is, what is the bird name? Kurari. This Kurari, this story is that, this story is the story where Yamraj told to the wives of Suyagya, who died in a battlefield because the queens could not give up the dead body of the husband. So they were so attached to it. So Yamraj came as a very little boy, because see, people like to listen to the philosophy of little boys. When an old person says, people don't listen much, but when a small child will say, when people like me will tell something, of course I'm sure people might be sleeping because of my boring class, but when a small child speaks philosophy, then very interestingly people hear. So he tells the story of the bird who had a very nice family, and whose wife was pierced and killed by a hunter. And the husband bird was so much in grief, and he was distressed that he was just crying. Then he was saying that, how will I live without my wife? And she would speak such sweet words to me, and she would take so much care of my needs. And then how will I live without my wife? And that and just crying, he was crying so loud that the hunter pierced his head too. So this Yamraj was explaining that the nature of this world is things do not happen the way they want, or the way we want, you can say. But we must go on with our lives, and we must strive to achieve the highest purpose of our life. What is the highest purpose of our life? The highest purpose of our life is to love the Supreme Lord, to reach the supreme abode of the Supreme Lord, and over there love him with our whole heartedness or full hearts. So Hiranyakashipu is speaking all this philosophy according to the Vedas, and he's pacifying his relatives and all. But later on, he's expressing his own vengeful anger also, that Vishnu killed my husband, Vishnu would die, I would cut his head from his trunk, and he'll offer that blood to my brother, because my brother used to like the taste of the blood very much. And then what happened is, then he went to do tapasya. There is this Mandhara mountain in the north, and he went to do tapasya over there, and he performed tapasya for 100 celestial years. 100 celestial years यानी यहाँ पे almost 10,000 साल बीत चुके हैं. and he stood on the tip of his toes with his arms raised without drinking, eating, and he did not even breathe. Now, somebody might say that if I don't breathe, I'll die. But he attained such natural powers that at the first, these demigods that were there, they were so much afraid because, there was a fire emanating from his head. And it was so hot that the heat was unbearable to all the three planetary systems, Patal, Bhulok, and Swargalok. And ultimately, the demigods, they went to Brahma and they said that, see, you have to do something about this. And this guy is like, creating a havoc. So Brahma, then he prayed to the Supreme Lord, and the Lord spoke to him and told him that, see, this Hiranyakashipu would ultimately die. Don't worry. Because when he will put atrocities over his own son, then I would come and I will actually, stop his game. So Brahma came down and put some water on from his kamandalu, and actually he could not find only Hiranyakashipu, because Hiranyakashipu was under an ant hill that had formed around him, and the ants had completely eaten his flesh. But because he had yogic power, he was keeping his life force alive in the skeleton of his bones also. Something very astonishing, right? So when Brahma sprinkled this celestial water on him, बोलते हैं स्वर का पानी छिड़का on पे, तो Hiranyakashipu manifested in his a nice beautiful form, and he started actually he started speaking, and he manifested all that healthy and very nice form, and he's praying to Brahma, that he prayed to Brahma as the supreme personality, and he offered his prostrated obeisances, and he offered all beautiful prayers also in praise of Brahma. See why he was praying to Brahma, not because he loved Brahma, but because he wanted benedictions from Brahma. So this is actually a materialistic worship, you can say. Why? Because we should worship the Supreme Lord with selfless attitude. We should not worship with some materialistic, attitude or materialistic desires. So we worship the Lord or even the demigod because we want something from them. So this Brahma, he became obliged ki chalo bhai de dete hai. So Hiranyakashipu asked several benedictions. He wanted to be immortal, but Brahma told him, see Baba, I am only not immortal. How can I make you immortal? Immortal is only one person, it's Krishna. So he wanted actually to trick Brahma also. In a very intelligent way, that see, I would not die by any living entity, by any species of life, or any demigod, or any human being, or any yakshas, or any kinnaras, or any gandharvas also will not. I will not die by any weapon also. I will not die in day also, in night also. I will not die in water also, and land also, or air also. I will not die inside also, outside also. So Brahma is saying, okay, take benedictions. Brahma said, okay, Baba, le tu. So Hiranyakashipu now is thinking himself that I am very indestructible now. And he sent his full army to terrorize this whole world. And they were terrorizing in such a way that they would not allow any religious principles to be followed in any shape. Or people are doing yagyas, people are giving charity, people are calling brahmanas to their home for prasad, nothing of that sort. And they would destroy even the places of the cows, the brahmanas, and ultimately, the demigods went to the Supreme Lord. They said that, okay, this guy has, created a havoc. And actually, that is when the Lord said, see, I will come when he would harass my devotees. Abhi tak he has not harassed my devotees. So, not that the Brahmins were not his devotees, but the Brahmanas were involved in karma kand. But still, the Brahmanas are the head of the society, and the cow is like the mother. So, the Lord had to come. So, they waited. So, Hiranyakashipu, he had 4 sons, and one of them was the best of them. and one of them was Prahlad. So Hiranyakashipu, this. So then we know the whole story that he sent Prahlad for school, and then he would, ask Prahlad that what did you learn, in school. And Prahlad was very much, respectful to his father. And then he's saying, what have you learned? What is the best knowledge that you consider? And then Prahlad Maharaj is first, when Hiranyakashipu is asking all the questions, Prahlad Maharaj is offering obeisances to his father and offering him full respectful words. He's answering, he's saying that my father, oh, best of the demons. See the respect. That's the praise actually. So he said that, see, a person who does not control his mind and senses, a person who is submerged in this materialistic thinking and material, like he'll find himself in a very deep dark well of suffering where there is no water, no one can hear him, and there is only suffering for such a person. So my dear father, he says, we should get out of this well. We should go to the forest of Vrindavan. We should worship the Supreme Lord over there. And all this, Prahlad was preaching to his father, and the father was hearing. And Hiranyakashipu was shocked hearing this. He began to laugh very loudly. He said that how the enemy has inflicted the heart of my son. How has the enemy, captured? So then he is calling the teachers, Shanda and Amarka. He's saying that, see, somehow or the other, the Vaishnavas has, brainwashed my child. Because even when children come into ISKCON and they start worshipping the Supreme Lord, all the other people who are not worshipping, they're thinking that, acha, these people are brainwashed. So even here, Hiranyakashipu is thinking that, my child has been brainwashed. So he's saying that these, Vaishnavas have brainwashed, and your school is being polluted, and my little son is also being polluted. Take him back to school and teach him all proper knowledge. And then they said to Prahlad that, see, where are you hearing all these things, bhai? So Prahlad Maharaj is replying that, see, all that you are teaching me, that is who is your friend and how to best exploit your friend, and who is your enemy, and how to somewhat defeat and destroy the enemy, and all this politics that you're teaching me. So you're telling me, all about how the goal of life is only economic development, to make money, to have power. But see, I do not see, things, or I cannot see things in terms of friend and enemy. Nobody is my enemy over here, and nobody is my friend also. So this does not make sense to me at all. And this is not getting into my brains at all. Why? Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or the Supreme Lord, is like a magnet, and I am like a piece of iron, and I am very much attracted to the Lord. So then, this teachers, they start beating him. They say, let's torture this little guy, And but still, he was very much respectful to his teachers also. He was respectful to Hiranyakashipu also. And we know that how Prahlad Maharaj is explaining that very famous shloka. Prahlad Maharaj is explaining to his father, and in his very much innocence, simplicity, and total humility, he tells his father that, see, there are 9 processes of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. He's saying that Shravanam, the first process of devotional service is Shravanam. See, from past almost, you can say, 2 hours, you all are listening, you all are doing Shravanam. Whatever you all have heard in this class, when you'll go and tell that story to somebody else, that is called Kirtanam. While you all are narrating that story to somebody, then what is happening? Vishnu Smaranam. When you're telling somebody a katha, those at least that particular time you are remembering the Lord. Smaranam. Then Pada Sevanam. We just heard the story of Mother Pada Sevanam. So Pada Sevanam is worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord. Archanam, Bhagwan ki puja archana karna. Vandanam. Vandanam means to bow down to him. Give him full obeisances. Dasyam, thinking ourselves as the servant of the Lord, like Hanuman is in Dasya Bhav. So to be the best of the best servants of the Supreme Lord is called Dasya Bhav mein seva karna. And then Sakhya. Sakhya means to think Krishna is my ever well-wishing friend. He is the only well-wishing friend who is always thinking about me, and I should always be thinking about him. Atma Nivedanam. Atma Nivedanam means what? That you surrender everything to the Supreme Lord. All ego, anger, pride, everything you surrender to the Supreme Lord. That's called Atmani, yourself also. So if you see, the Acharya of Shravanam is who? Parikshit Maharaj. Why is he called the Acharya? Because he's expert. 7 days and 7 nights without drinking a sip of water. He is hearing the katha. Here though at least, I am drinking in between, sip of water. And Kirtanam. Kirtanam, the epitome of Kirtanam is Shukdev Goswami. Even Shukdev Goswami did not drink a drop of water for 7 days and 7 nights. So that is, and Vishnu Smaranam. Vishnu Smaranam, Ambrish Maharaj is the epitome because he engaged all his senses in the service of the Lord. And even Vishnu Smaranam, one more example is, who is Vishnu Smaranam? Who remembered the Lord? Arjuna also remembered the Lord. But there is one more person, I just forget who is Vishnu Smaranam. And then Pada Sevanam. Devotees even worship the Supreme Lord. They are worshipping the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam. Dasyam, we have Hanuman. Sakhyam, Arjuna is the best example. Krishna became a charioteer also for him. Atma Nivedanam, Bali Maharaj is the best example for, Atma Nivedanam. So, these 9 processes, if you perfect even one devotional service, मान लो कोई सुनने में उसको बहुत रुचि है, somebody is very much interested in hearing, so then he can perfect by hearing. Somebody wants to do kirtanam, either he is doing kirtanam or he's singing for the Lord, or he's giving pravachan, or giving class for the Lord, then he can perfect. Vishnu Smaran. So when these two things are very perfected now, then this Vishnu Smaranam automatically ho jata hai. Apne aap. It is very natural. It's a concomitant factor that Shravanam Kirtanam, if they are strong, then Vishnu Smaranam apne aap hi ho jayega. And then others also will automatically follow. So he's saying that what is he saying in that purport? He's saying that anyone who follows these 9 processes of devotion will achieve the greatest perfection. So where he says also ahead in the shloka, he says, Materna Krishna Parata Svatova Mitho Vipatte Graha Vratanam Ananta Gobhi Vishitam Tamishram Punascharvita Charvananam. He's saying that any person who has uncontrolled mind and senses, Matirna Krishna Parata Svatova, जिसकी मति कृष्ण में नहीं है, जिसके uncontrolled mind and senses है, they cannot understand the absolute truth. Krishna Parata Svatova. So because of their too much, why? Because mito abhipatti graha vratanam, too much of material conditioning that they have, that so much of sense gratification of wife, children, then earning or investments. So much they have material enjoyment, and for these sense objects and for profit, adoration, that they are not able to see only the Lord beyond that. So he's explaining that all these pleasures are there. We are just trying to enjoy, simply chewing that what is already being chewed. So he's saying that punas Charvita Charvananam. He's saying that again, whatever he's saying, for example, मैं आपको बताती हूँ, okay, that you have a sugarcane, long, rod, and then you put it in that particular machine. So then that juice comes out. Again, you put it, then again there'll be juice. But what happens is after some time when you're beating that, there is no juice. So again and again, what you keep on doing, and again, there is no juice in that. So, simply chewing that what has already been chewed. So Prabhupada, explains that, see, we have been chewing these things since time immemorial. 84 lakhs of species, when we move around in those, the last form of birth that we get a human form of birth. Okay. And then again, we want to, get some juice out of it. So Prahlad Maharaj continued that, continuously saying that those who do not have their mind and senses control, they are eating the chewing the chewed. They cannot understand by their own efforts. And even if somebody tries to explain them, they're not able. So he's saying that Prahlad Maharaj is telling to his father that, see, people are blindly following. They are simply, into this ditch of this material suffering. But they are not, able to understand that, if they take the association of devotees, then the great Vaishnavas that are there, they will help them and they will bring them more closer to Krishna. So again, hearing all this, Hiranyakashipu goes mad, and he's actually making plans that how he will kill Prahlad Maharaj, and then we know that how Prahlad Maharaj is being given so many atrocities and also Prahlad Maharaj, when the last he was telling Hiranyakashipu that he was giving reasons that why he is devoted to Lord Vishnu. So he's very respectfully, and submissively telling his father that, you are trying to deprogram my bhakti, but it is not possible. Okay, because these teachers also, they have left me. And he's saying that a person should actually take up to bhakti at a very, small age only, where he actually quotes that shloka, it is Komar Achrito Pragnyo Dharman Bhagwatam Iha Durlabham Manushya Janma. मनुष्य जन्म बहुत ही दुर्लभ है. And he's telling his father also. Father gets again very angry. He tells a very series of shlokas, and then he tries to put so many atrocities, and then he's challenging that, is your Narasimha Dev in this? He's saying that because Prahlad Maharaj is saying that the Lord is everywhere, and then he's telling that you are a, because Hiranyakashipu is telling that you are a rascal, the one who is the killer of my brother, you are actually worshipping that only. And you are not even under my control. And you are saying, I am the greatest controller over here. And you are speaking of somebody who is even a greater controller than me. Where is that person? Show me. Tell me who is your supreme lord or who is your supreme controller. Call him over here. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying, see, Father, he is everywhere. And the same power, the same person who gives you power is giving me also that same power. He's the supreme person. He's residing everywhere over here. So Hiranyakashipu now, because he was too much blinded, he could not believe and he could not answer that question in that way. So he became so out. He's like, okay, if you say he's everywhere, is he there in this particular pillar or column? And Prahlad telling, yes, he's everywhere. Then he's like, okay. Hiranyakashipu cried in a voice, where in great, this is telling, okay, let me see him, protect him. Because that moment, he was going to kill his son. And because he was going to kill his son, then he's drawing out a sword. And he's just about to, sever the head of Prahlad. And in a very, what do you say, a very, what is a defensive way, with the Lord with his fist, he pounded that, sorry, Hiranyakashipu pounded that pillar. And he's saying, okay, if he's there in this pillar, let your Lord come out from this pillar. And that pillar actually really started trembling. And a very loud screeching voice echoed throughout this entire universe, because when the Lord is definitely appearing, then the Lord will come out in his very ferocious form. He will be, screeching. Why he was screeching? Because how dare you actually, kill my pure devotee. The Lord was very much in a ferocious, anger or form. And he came, and then Hiranyakashipu had never heard anything like this. He stood at that pillar, looking at that, trembling pillar, because the pillar started shaking and he making noise. And this pillar broke. And Lord Narasimha Dev Bhagwan, he appeared. He appeared as a half man, half lion, his eyes glowing like molten gold in anger. So the Lord appeared over there. Shri Narasimha Dev Bhagwan ki jai. So his mane was, erect in all directions. He was so huge. His mane was scattering the clouds in the sky. His mouth, his nostrils were like gaping dark, caves. His tongue was moving like a, sword, because he was very angry. He had a very thick, broad. So like when I'm imagining, right, he had a very thick, broad chest. His, he had a very thin waist. Like, how nowadays when they go to the gym, they have a thin waist. So his arms were also razor sharp arms, and he's roaring, and that roaring Hiranyakashipu could not tolerate it. It shattered the heart of Hiranyakashipu, and all the demigods, they are hearing that roaring in the heavenly planets, and they came down in their airplanes to see what's happening. And nobody had ever seen this form of the Lord. And Hiranyakashipu came to a conclusion that yes, this is only my enemy Vishnu, and no one can defeat me. Today he would enter, the abode of Yamraj. So, Yamraj, who is the master of Vishnu, Hiranyakashipu is thinking of sending Vishnu to Yamraj. So, this was his false pride. And he drew his sword and he's attacking, and there was a very fierce fight between the Lord. And just as a little insect is flying into the fire, this fight went on. And it is explained in the Shastras also that the Lord appeared sometime around the afternoon time, and they fought for many hours. So Lord appeared, somewhere between 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, and they were fighting for many hours. So Hiranyakashipu was fighting so ferociously. Narasimha Dev was also playing with him, just like, the cat is playing with the mouse, and Narasimha Dev grabbed him, and finally the Lord actually, killed Hiranyakashipu. And Prahlad is giving now, from the heavenly planets also, people are showering, demigods are showering flowers, and they're offering prayers, and Prahlad is offering beautiful prayers. And Prahlad is offering this particular prayer that we read, that see, I'm from a family of demons, and how is it possible for me to give these suitable prayers to you? I have been, in the family of Asuras. And although, people are so much qualified to give you praise, that they are in the mode of goodness, and I am just, a normal small child, and I'm Asura, I'm not at all qualified. So Prabhupada, in the purport that we read, is living that Prahlad, what is the qualification of Prahlad? So Narad Muni again is telling actually Yudhishthir Maharaj that wherever this discussion of Supreme Lord and his devotee, the topic of Prahlad Maharaj will come up always. How? That because he's an exalted devotee, and he's considering himself as the most fallen, most unqualified. And Prabhupada is explaining that, Vaishnava is who is very fully qualified, but he's thinking himself to be as low as a, blade of grass. He's thinking is very meek and humble. And uh, Prabhupada is quoting, that See, he says that, see, until unless anybody is meek and humble, then it is very difficult to make progress. And that is why we should be following in the footsteps of the Mahajanas. We should not become proud. But here we find that unless somehow the other, with our good intelligence, when we have good association, good sadhana, we can overcome this tendency of pride. And then it is very easy for us to make progress. But if somebody has pride, then it's very difficult for him to make progress. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also says that humility and simplicity are you can say the two fundamental basic principles that we must accept to make spiritual, to make he uses the word to actually make spiritual advancement, because these qualities the Lord appreciates a lot. So Prahlad Maharaj is only 5 years old child, and he was giving such wonderful prayers, and he's the Lord is also giving him benedictions. He's offered him heavenly planets, liberation, mystic powers, everything. But Prahlad Maharaj, to our surprise, he refused to take this benediction. Prahlad said that, see, if I'm serving you with any expectation that you're going to give me something material in return, then I'm not a devotee at all. Then I'm a merchant doing business with you. So this thing, when I had heard for the first time in one of the lectures, that this statement actually struck me a lot, because that was the statement that I had read in that purport. Exactly, I'm not able to actually tell the verbatim in that particular text, but it is said that if I'm serving you with any expectation, and I'm expecting that you will give me something material in return, then I'm not a devotee. Then I'm a merchant. Baniya. बोले ना, बनिया क्या करता है? बिजनेस करता है वो, राइट? कि लेन देन का बिजनेस, गिविंग एंड रिसीविंग. You give me this, I give you this. He's just trading. He's trading between the Lord. Or devotee means unconditional, unmotivated service to the Lord. So if I'm serving for the satisfaction of my Lord, then I'm a devotee. So we can imagine that Prabhupada is explaining Prahlad Maharaj's mentality, that even when he was tormented in the most difficult ways, he never blamed Krishna. So that is why you see Bhagwatam is describing, even when we are put into an inconceivable, difficult situation, what we should be doing. We offer respectful obeisances with a very grateful heart to the Lord. And such people who are tolerant, who are more, who are paying obeisance to the Lord, these are the such people who are the recipients of the mercy. If you remember, some days back, I had told that 10th canto, that particular person is the most rightful heir for liberation. So this is Prahlad Maharaj, how he went through so much of atrocities, and he yet remained faithful to the Lord. He not said that, oh, why in my life only so many difficulties, I quit, and I don't trust in him, I don't have faith in him. No, he was patient, he was determined, he had faith in the Lord, and he was enthusiastic also. And he remained faithful to the Lord, and he did not want anything besides the pleasure of the Lord. And this is real dharma, or this is a real religion, that Narasimha Dev gave Prahlad Maharaj benediction, that he said that that you, whatever you want, you take from me. But Narasimha Dev gave Prahlad a benediction then from his own. He's saying that, okay, if you don't want anything, he said, okay, you would live in this world, and I would coronate you as the king and replace your father. And you will rule this world for one manvantara. One manvantara means so many, lakhs of years. And you would never forget me, because Prahlad Maharaj asked only this benediction. And you will always engage in my service. At the end of your life, then you will come back to me. where you will come back to me in Vaikuntha, because in Vaikuntha planets, one of the planets is Lord Narsimha Dev's planet. So Prahlad Maharaj accepted, but he revealed his one heart also to the Lord. He said that, see, Narsimha Dev, I don't want to be in the Himalayas, doing some solitary worship. I don't even want to go back home, back to Godhead. As long as I am there over here, even one person who is suffering because of forgetfulness of you, let me be in this world to serve those people. So I want to just preach your glories and make people remind again and again about you. So Prabhupada actually is quoting from, the Puranas, that he's saying that Prahlad Maharaj lives simultaneously in Vaikuntha also, and he's living in this world also, helping the devotees to become Krishna consciousness in the Sutala Loka, down. So that was his desire. So this was his compassion, that and that is only the spirit that Prabhupada also tried to impregnate within our hearts also. And there is nothing that pleases the Lord more than the spirit of compassion to others. Because see, the Lord has compassion, and if we have adopted that quality of the Lord, and we also have compassion to others, then the Lord is automatically pleased. And ultimately, our existence as a devotee is what? We want to please the Supreme Lord, right? So we can say paradukha dukhi. So, to see the pains of others in forgetfulness of the Lord. So this is Prahlad Maharaj. So very nice story, this Prahlad Maharaj. I'm sorry, I can go on and on and on and on. But here I would like to just halt and, rest my speech over here, so that the others get a chance to ask their queries or difficulties. So anybody has any query, difficulty, you are free to ask. I have unmuted everybody over here. Hearing mode, yeah, somebody has raised his hand in hearing mode. The Prahlad Maharaj instance is like, a person can speak for almost, you can say, 6 months continuously, the same katha. There's so many lessons. Priyanka is saying that, Mataji, could you please guide us how to observe the fast tomorrow? Yeah, we fast till sunrise, and to celebrate Narsim Chaturdashi, wake up early in the morning, chant your wonderful rounds, prepare nice bhoga for the Lord, but we have to fast. Like the ideal fasting, I'll tell you. In that, then you can make some variations according to your health conditions also. The ideal fasting is that you do not drink water at all till sunrise tomorrow. Sorry, till moonrise tomorrow. Till 7 o'clock, you don't even drink water. That is called Nirjala fasting till 7 o'clock. But now somebody is not able to do that. Then you can drink milk and you can eat fruits. But according to Ayurveda, again, drinking fruits and milk, then that is opposite, food. You have tangy food and then you have milk, which is not suitable to the body. So maybe at a distance, like you drink milk only first, and after a couple of hours, then you eat fruits that way. Or the third option is that you eat fruits also, you drink milk also, and then you take Ekadashi Prasadam also. Till the end of the day, you take fruits, or you take Ekadashi Prasad also. No water from morning to evening, and after sunset we can drink water. Yes. After sunset, you can drink water. Yeah. But after sunset, when you drink water, just be careful that you drink lukewarm water. You don't drink cold water at all. And in that water, you will have ginger grated into it. Because the whole time the body has been into a fasting state, so then that body becomes a vata body, according to Ayurveda. So then what you can do is, you can have ginger little grated into it, and a little drop of 2-3 drops of ghee you put in that. Ghee is actually like a smoothing balm to that body. which has gone through so much of austerity and fasting. If you want, you can put a 1 spoon also of ghee, and you can drink ginger ghee. If you feel ginger is completely very, hot for you or very tikha for you, then you can add a little jaggery, which is more soothing actually for you. So this is how you break your fast, by first drinking that, water, ginger, jaggery, and ghee water. And post, after that, 1 hour post that, then you can have your normal Ekadashi prasadam. You can have normal, Ekadashi prasadam, whatever you have then. So that's how you actually celebrate Narsimha. But throughout the day, then you can keep on chanting, remembering the Lord. You can read the 6th chapter of the Bhagwatam, 7th canto, 6th chapter. The 9th chapter also you can read. 6th and 9th chapter are very important chapters. What is ghee water? You boil the water and you put ghee in that. That's called ghee water. So, desi ghee. You can say clarified butter, you can say that water. Okay. So, that's the thing. So, this is how you celebrate Narsimha Chaturdashi. Okay, Mataji? Yeah. So, thank you, dear devotees. I think you all have no other questions more. Yeah, Canto 7, Chapter 6 and 9. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.